Hello music lovers and welcome back to the Woodshed. This is the last Woodshed episode before the new year. So I hope all of you guys had a fantastic holiday and you go into the new year with some tasty licks, some new gear, and well wishes from my family to yours. Alright, with the holiday greetings out of the way, let's dig into this episode. So an age-old problem for us guitarists is hearing ourselves because we always like to go to that volume knob on the amplifier and just keep cranking it up. Now in episodes before, I've talked about ways to improve how you slice through the mix, whether that be lowering that low end on the amp down, maybe using less effects, less delay and reverb. Things like that will help you cut through. Less gain, less distortion, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, if you can't hear yourself at all and you've taken every step imaginable that you can think of to solve the problem probably lies in monitors. So how do you hear yourself? Well, the answer lies in these bad boys right here. These are in-ear monitors. Basically, they're glorified headphones. You pipe that into a rig, bing, bang, boom, you hear yourself and nothing else. That's the key. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, sit back, let me help you hear yourself better on stage, and also, let's talk about how you can put a rig together on the cheap. Okay, some of you guys might know, for fun, I have a lovely little 80s hair metal tribute band with none other than the internet's favorite uncle, Mr. Ben Eller. I'm going to drop in a clip of us playing our most recent show, and if you notice, Ben Eller's playing the bass. Now, what's convenient about this little lovely 80s metal tribute is we're a 5-piece, but our bass player decided he wanted to go to Disney World for Christmas. Uncle Ben, being the Swiss Army knife that he is, jumped on the big guitar, and we just rocked it as a 4-piece, which was super fun because we all love Van Halen and those style of bands. So let's just drop in a little clip. Make note of how lovely his pirate shirt is and how ridiculously fun this little band is. Roll it. Okay, so you probably noticed there were no wedges on the front of the stage. Some of you guys might be wondering what a wedge is. That's just those big black monitors that are on the edge of a stage firing the sound back up at the band. Now, for you people rolling your eyes and being like, yeah, we know what a wedge is, then obviously you know what a wedge is. Some of you guys may have not been on stage. That's how you hear yourself when things get loud and you have the drums going and you can use small little combo amps to get the tone that you want without having to have big half stacks. And that's something really important to note, is sometimes the tone you want comes from an amp that isn't powerful enough to jump across a stage. Like for instance, I love a deluxe reverb, but when you play that on a stage that's a 40 by 25 and it's on the side of the stage and you're in the middle of the stage, you can't hear it. So you need those wedges. Now the problem with wedges comes from the fact that you just are constantly increasing the noise floor on stage. I know that some guys out here watching this play club gigs, and at the end of the night, maybe your ears are ringing. That's because it's louder on stage where you are, more so even than where it is in the audience. You've got your amps behind you, you've got the drummer beating and thrashing around. Maybe he doesn't have any plexiglass and he's heavy-handed. And then you've got the monitors coming back up and you're trying to turn the vocals up and you keep turning your amp up and you keep turning the vocals up, you keep turning your amps up, and then at the end of the night, it's a mess. So let's start with my solution. In-ear monitors. Now, this isn't a commercial for JH Audio, but this is the brand that I use. There's a lot of really great in-ear brands, you know, Ultimate Ears, I think in 1964s. There's a lot of great companies, but I love these. And a little detail here that's nerdy is they put my logo right there in the ear, so I don't get them mixed up with anybody and I don't put anybody else's ear boogers in my ear. That's nice. This is only one piece of the puzzle. This right here connects to a wireless pack that you put on the back. maybe put it on your belt, your guitar strap, whatever. That feeds a wireless transmitter that goes to the monitor desk. Okay, now at this point, you can rack up 20, 30, 40, hundreds of thousands of dollars in gear. That's where a lot of these mega tours, like some of the tours that I've been on, whether it be Low Cash or Rascal Flatts or whatever, the desks were rented, right? And you rent the desk and the gear and you pay the monitor guy's salary. He comes on tour with you. Those are for big budget shows. You can easily spend $100,000, $200,000 on the desk itself, okay? So how do you solve this problem if you're the working man's band and you want to go out and play and you don't want to deal with these issues? Well, there is a way around it. You can use smaller digital desks that you control from an iPad, your iPhone, hook up with a laptop. These desks can be pretty affordable. We're talking these Behringer PreSonus type desks. They just mount up in a rack. They look kind of like an Axifex or something. They just mount right up. You wire your rig together. And then you have a splitter. Okay, this splitter just means once you've got everything patched in, that you're going to send that out and it's just going to have a bunch of loose mic ends. And that's what you're going to give to the front of house guy. If this all sounds like I'm speaking foreign language, don't worry. I've got clips here, and I'm going to piecemeal all the footage that I've got over the past couple of shows and describe visually what is going on with this build. Now, this build right here, thanks to some folks at AMS, we were able to put this together on a nice little budget. I think if you were to buy every single piece of this rig, you could easily get it done for under $7,000 or $8,000. Now, before you roll your eyes and before you go, oh my God, who could afford that? Think about it this way. You're a 5-piece band, just like me and Ben Eller's little 80s tribute. We want to solve a problem. You basically just slice up the cost and everybody just throws in a chunk. Now you're not spending more than you would spend on a guitar or another amplifier, and you're actually solving the problem and reinvesting into your band's sound. Longevity is the thing, and a lot of times you get burnt out when the sound doesn't sound good and you just don't want to do the gigs anymore. This is a solution. A lot of you guitar players are using things like Axifexes and neural DSPs and things like that. Well, at this point in the game, when you don't need an amplifier, you can simply patch that straight in and hear your lovely Axifex fractal Kemper helix tones straight into the side of your head. It's a solution that I highly recommend for you guys that are in the clubs and you're touring, maybe you're opening for bands, all this kind of things. Let's roll the footage and dig into this. All right, so we are at the open chord. Big thanks to AMS, Gator Cases, LD, Seismic Audio, my man Turbo, Evan Owen in the house. And this is what it looks like when we start. Building an in-ear rig, and then we'll just see what happens when we get her going. All right, the casters are on. Easy assembly. Zip them up. We got the Seismic Audio in here. And because we have a small rack, we did 5 foot for the side that's going to live in here, and 30 foot that's going to go to front of house. To give you an idea of what that's going to do, there's the front of house snake for open chord. We would just take this and all our tails, run it into that. Now we've got the LDs out. This is what we'll all be hearing, and we're gonna test fit, see what we want to go where. So that's where we're at. KSM over there. Yeah. So we're in phase 2 of the build. Unfortunately, we have to do the rack mounts on top of each other with the wirelesses. You cannot go side by side. Brad here is loading up the PreSonus, which will be doing the heavy lifting of the mix. So as you can see, we got the snake in, thanks to Seismic Audio. Gator Cases, AMS, LD, PreSonus, Furman. Getting there. So we've made another mess. There it is. All right, guys, are you confused yet? Well, hang on. I've got my trusty, handy-dandy dry erase board here, and I'm going to help you out. So let's say you've got your inputs on stage. You've got a guitar. I'm just going to kind of make a makeshift guitar. You've got a microphone for all the different members of the band. You know, you've got a drum kit. That thing's like this. I'm drawing it now. And then you've got some, maybe a snare drum right there and some stands. floor tom, stands. You got bass. So bass is going to be a big guitar. Yeah, bass. So there's bass. All right. And that's what that looks like right there. So there's your inputs. Let's say there's your band, right? You got bass, you got guitar, vocals, drums, bass, all that good stuff. The next thing it's going to go into is the mastermind, which is in my case, it's the PreSonus. And we're just going to make a little rack unit right here. And we're just going to put PS right there. So that's the PreSonus, as you can tell. Sorry for the glare. There's the PreSonus right there. Okay, now on that, you're going to see a bunch of inputs that are all plugged in. And I'm just going to make little dots on those. Right? So that looks like this. You see those little dots right there? Okay, the next thing you're going to need is a splitter. So I'm going to make this box the splitter. Split. Okay, it's going to have that same series of rows, and I'm going to give you a close-up of what that unit looks like in a photo right here. Okay, so that split box is down at the bottom. Okay, so you've got your inputs and your PreSonus. So pardon the glare, but I'm going to do this in real time for the video. The split does two things. Your front of house snake, front of house, that means that's what's going to the audience. These are your everyone out in the front of house, the audience. We send one cable and it fans out into all the inputs. They're on these little tails, right? So those fans go to front of house and we just plug those in. Each one of those will be like Andy guitar, Ben guitar, Brent vocal, Blackie, which is our bass player, his vocal, his bass, drums, all the drums, the sample pads, all of our inputs go to front of house. So how do we get these into our in-ears? Well, the in-ears are in racks right below, loaded up just like this. Okay, so those are the wirelesses. These wirelesses transmit out to the receiver that is on our belts. There's a receiver, and here's the in-ears that come out, right? There's an in-ear, and there's an in-ear. You see what's happening here? So the wirelesses, these are the wirelesses, so it's like me, it's me, it's Ben, you know, and it's our singer, bass player, etc. So how do we get our inputs to front of house and to our wirelesses? That happens in the split. So we'll take my guitar and put it into the input. The microphone, it gets an input. All of the drums, so this one gets like ×5 because that's your, you got your snare, floor tom, rack toms, whatever. The bass will go in. We have sample pad. So we go through and make everything that we have on stage. It gets 2 lines, so 1, 2, and then the remaining vocals, so vocals. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So all of that stuff is going to the splitter. The splitter, as it takes this one line with the tails to front of house, it takes one line to the front of the PreSonus. And it puts everything in its place. So now, sorry for the glare again, now you should be able to see exactly the way we do things. All right, there's a good one without the glare. So now you can see the lineup, and I know this has just been scribbled out, but a lot of times it's easier for my brain to understand what's happening if I draw it out instead of like just looking at a bunch of inputs. Like it makes my brain melt. So again, we take our instrument microphone cables that you would just hand to the guy that's running monitors, and now we're self-contained, and all of this is in one rack case. All of this lives in one big old rack case. So when we roll in this rack case, I'm going to show it to you right now. When we roll in that rack case, we take the lids off the front and the back. This is already wired up. You see this line right here that's coming from the splitter up to the PreSonus? It stays wired up. okay? So we never have to do anything. What we do is we run this fan tail out to the front of house, and they plug it in. While they're plugging in front of house, we're plugging our guitars into this, the drum mics, the vocal mics, the basses, the sample pad, and by the time they've got this patched up and ready for sound check, we're patched up and ready for sound check. We hit it on, and we run our monitors from our phones, which is really awesome. That's a benefit of the Presonus and the Behringers and some of those digital consoles. You can have an iPad or iPhones, whatever Android device you use, and then you can mix yourself. So I'm never mixing anybody. If I want more bass, I just open up my app and slide the fader up for me. We're all self-contained, and I can't recommend this setup enough. Like, I think this kind of thing, if you are playing a lot of club gigs or you're touring, this is more valuable than even your amplifiers and stuff. You could use Axe-FXs or Kempers and just plug them straight in. You don't even need amps on stage. We like amps because we like to move a bunch of air, but I'm just saying it can be done. And this is self-contained. It is the way. So I hope this little illustration right here helped you guys understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. All right, now back to the footage. So we are now at day 3 of rehearsal on the in-ear rig. Brad is helping us out, just testing with this little fractal unit. But there's the rig. And the snake is going all the way across to the stage over there. Inputs over there. We're not doing anything with full kits yet. Just getting things like sample pads, just some Strymon, direct in. Just getting our rough gain structures laid out. Let me get you a close-up of the rig here. That's what she looks like. And then when we get it all finished and labeled up, we'll run into that splitter, and that'll send it to us, which is the ProSonus, and then we'll send ours to front of house, which is that red, yellow, blue over there. So that's what we got. Little Wi-Fi unit over there, and kind of that's what we got going on. Yep. All right, so gig number 2 here, setting up production for Skankmayor private event, lovely Knoxville, Tennessee. And here's the rig. We roll it in front of house, and production is courtesy of SES, my man Aaron. And so that's what she looks like. The idea is to roll up, let them patch into the splitter. We'll patch ourselves, and then give them the tails, which are labeled up nice and neat. There you have it. So we'll get you some footage from the show and go from there. Here's the front of the rig. One of the things we did that was cool was mount the wireless router right there. Nice and clean. Try to keep everything nice and tidy. Makes for easy setups. There you go. Last show of the year here in lovely Scruffy City. It's kind of a cool venue. Multi-tiered. Kind of home-based. Ben?
Hi.
What you got on your shoulder there?
I have some things that go in my ears that let me hear myself.
Tell me about those.
They're known as in-ears, and they are a lovely thing. It's one of those things that once you kind of get used to them and you play some shows with them, it's very hard to go back to trying to scream to hear yourself coming out of your own wedge, trying to beat the crap out of your instrument to hear yourself coming out of your own wedge. It's a game changer.
Game changer.
And also ear saver as well, because if they're properly equipped, they block out a lot of external noise. Save you from going deaf.
Going deaf. Over here we got the illustrious Andy Campbell. Tell me about your setup, A-Cam. Tell me about your setup. What all do you have going to your ears that maybe not everybody else can hear?
Well, I have my sample pad, so I can hear that.
Tell us about what that thing does.
The sample pad?
Yeah, tell me about that.
I run tracks through it. I run goat sounds.
Tell me your favorite track sounds. Obviously, goat's a big one. What's another
Goat's
favorite?
a big one. David Lee Roth sounds. I have those isolated in there.
At times, indistinguishable from goat sounds.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing.
Personal favorite of mine is Wolf Howling. You've got
I got the Wolf Howl. Got some motor car revs for your Panama.
I think my favorite's when you cue up the Price is Right loser thing. It's like, yeah,
So, where most artists tend to run important things like, time code,
yep,
vocals. Maybe if you're Ashley Simpson, you just run the whole show.
The
whole
thing.
thing's on it. You know what we like?
And blame the drummer.
And then blame the drummer. You know what we like
Probably
to
was
do?
his
Goat
fault.
sounds, motorcycles, things like that.
Yeah. If I don't have these, I don't get to hear them.
You don't get to hear it. That's right.
Yeah.
So this is what, guys? This is show 5 with it.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
Sounds right.
Love it. As you can see, the stage is clean. The track rig is just right over here. We're getting everything set up, lights and whatnot. And we patch in, control it from our phones. You like the phone setup?
I do.
It keeps me in the phone zone, and then I can also check my Bitcoins during the show and act like I'm adjusting my mix.
That's right. And then the way that I send my signal, no microphones on my cabinet. Using that Sir reactive load, I just run that cable right out there. I get to hear my amp just like I want to, and it goes straight over and patches in. That's all I have right down front. The Axe Effects is just for delay and reverb and a backup in case the amp dies. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Thanks again to AMS for this video. Appreciate you guys. This rig is incredible, and we've been using it for several weeks now, getting a lot of good shows under our belt and getting used to it, and we love it. It's been a delight to just shift. It makes it easy when we do corporate parties, and I think this information can go to you guys out there in the world. I think you'll be able to solve a lot of issues with your monitoring and your hearing, and more importantly, you're going to save your hearing. You're not going to be blasting 115 decibels to your face every single night that you play. If you're looking to put something like this together, of course, go to American Musical, and they can piecemeal the rig together, ship it off to you, and you can assemble it, put it together, bing, bang, boom, you're good to go. Thanks to everyone out there for watching and being a part of the Woodshed this year. It's been super fun. I feel like we've built a nice little community. Special thanks out to my patrons. Love you guys. It's been a delight to spend this year with you, making content for you, hanging out with you, doing master classes, all that kind of good stuff. If you're curious about the Patreon, we have a lot of different things. I've got hundreds of lesson videos where you can learn sweep picking, you can learn hybrid picking, all right-hand techniques. We talk about improvisation and tone and how to improve your tone, phrasing, all that good stuff. We also do a live weekly Zoom masterclass over there. That's always a fun hang where we listen to music, I teach, we do Q&A. If you want to buy tabs, I get that email a lot. If you want to buy tabs and transcriptions and tones for your Axe Effects and all that kind of good stuff, maybe you just want to check out an album or two, go over to andywoodmusic.com. Stepping into this new year, we're going to be touring, so you'll be able to see tour dates and scheduling on that website as well, whether I'm playing with Gary from Rascal Flatts or any other artist, whether we're doing our show, our 80s tribute show with Ben Eller, or my solo stuff. That will all be on andywoodmusic.com. And again, thank you guys for hanging out this year, and we will see you in the new year.